chamber. All right, Brianna just let me know that we are live, which means that it's officially 6 o'clock. We will have a quorum, even with those that are here. So let's go ahead and call the meeting of the Yelm City Council of February 23rd, 2021 to order. And it will do so by our usual practice of doing a salute to the flag when Grant puts that up. All right, join me please in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hi, Cassie. Thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Oh, good. We'll get to you in just a minute. Hang tight. We're just starting the meeting. Will City Clerk Lori Lucas take the roll, please?
Councilmember James Blair. Councilmember Molly Carmody. Councilmember EJ Curry.
You muted.
Here.
Councilmember Tad Stillwell.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy Wood.
Present and accounted for.
Councilmember Joe DePinto.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Kaminsky.
Here.
Mayor J.W. Foster.
Here.
Thank
and
you.
I see that Councilmember Carmody has joined us. And Councilmember Blair did call in, if council wants to take an action on that.
I move we excuse Councilmember Blair from this evening's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? It'll show as having been excused by council. So the next on our very light agenda today is to approve the very light agenda.
I move we approve the very light agenda for this evening's activities.
Second. Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Very good. So here we are. Cassandra, it's all about you now. And I have to ask, even though they told me, do you prefer Cassandra or Cassie?
I don't actually mind either way. I go by Cassie usually at school, but I don't mind being called Cassandra at all. So whichever you guys prefer.
Okay. Well, the official plaque will have Cassandra, but we'll probably refer to you in the familiar. So as folks know, this is the time of year when we have a great opportunity to highlight one of our awesome students in Yelm. The Rotary Club gets with the Yelm School Administration and they submit nominations of different students, and then that committee picks one for each month of the school year. And this month, it's Cassandra Cassie Shaw. We're happy to announce that the student of the month for January 21 is Cassandra Shaw. Cassandra, who goes by Cassie, is an outstanding addition to the YHS family this year. Cassie's upbeat personality is equally matched with her determination and contagious positive attitude. When not volunteering at the Yelm Prairie Christian Center or other organizations, she's working diligently on her classwork as well as on scholarships and her college applications. According to her teacher, Joel McMillan, her attitude makes her a powerful presence in class, even via Zoom. She has high expectations for herself and is always rising to the occasion. She hopes to attend one of her dream schools next year where she'll study creative writing, screenwriting, and other arts in hopes of writing and producing her own show. On her list of colleges is Stanford, Rice University, USC, and more, and we're hoping maybe one of our state colleges. She's aiming high. We have no doubt that Cassie will be a huge success and play an important role wherever she lands. The Rotary Club of Yelm, along with the City of Yelm and our business partners, wish you all the best, Cassie. And you will be receiving this lovely plaque, we'll get that to the high school tomorrow. You can pick it up when you can. And then all of our business partners have donated some pretty cool stuff that you'll pick up from the high school as well. So Ken McCulloch from American Family Insurance, Masonry Cafe, that's a good one. Olympia Federal Savings, Edward Jones, Pam Ferris, financial advisor, Pizzeria La Gitana, the Shiplap Shop and Coffee House, Walmart, Yelm Food Co-op, and the Grocery Outlet, amongst others. So we'll congratulate you for your hard work and accomplishments this year. And here's an opportunity for you to say something to the council if you'd like.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate everything. And honestly, it was such a huge surprise that I was selected for anything because I usually just do what I always do. And it means a lot that I was recognized, and it feels really great. So thank you all. I appreciate being recognized here. I think it's super cool. So thank you.
Excellent. We'll keep up the good work.
Congratulations, Cassie.
Everybody give her a big round of virtual applause here. And we'll look forward to you coming back and making a movie about Yelm.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
Tracy?
The school song.
Oh, yeah. Here's a great opportunity for you to sing the school song. No, what? No, I'm kidding you. You could do it though, couldn't you? Hey, Tracy.
Sorry.
Tracy, why don't you get her started? Why don't you do the first round?
You know, I would, however, I'm at the restaurant. and
Oh yeah, we wouldn't want to scare the
they're
customers.
out of the way.
On tornadoes, on tornadoes.
Joe's got it. All right, Cassie, thank you for tuning in. I know you're busy. You have a lot of stuff to do. We have a light agenda tonight. You're welcome to stay on and watch the rest of the council meeting, but otherwise, we'll just look to see you in the news later on.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm with my here. Do you want to say hi?
Oh.
Okay, never mind. I'm with my little sister. That's why you probably heard her singing in the background.
Well, how many years before your little sister's up for Student of the Month?
I'd say about 16. she's 2. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, what's her name?
No. Blake. Here.
Hi, Blake.
Come on, Blake. No.
Okay.
Okay, wait. I'll just a little bit.
Oh, there we go. Hi, Blake. Good to see you. Yay.
She gets a little bit shy.
Yeah.
She's
Go for all that.
covered both hands. Anyway, bye. Thank you guys so much. It
Thanks,
means a
Cassie.
lot.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
All right, those are great. Okay, folks, we go on to the public comment. We don't have anybody pre-registered to give comment tonight, but we do have several people from the community who've signed in to participate in the meeting tonight as an attendee. If any of them can indicate that they would like to speak, we can do 3 minutes apiece on something that they might want to talk to the council about. Grant, are they unmuted so that they could speak, just speak up?
Doing now.
Okay. You can also use the chat box if you want to send in a comment or a question. But other than that, we're going to recommend that people don't use the chat box for the purposes of maintaining a record for Open Public Meetings Act. I did see a hand go up. Was that you, Brianna? Just checking to see if it worked?
Is that Tim Kerfoot?
Tim Kerfoot, would you like to address the council? Okay, and I know Sierra is here as well from Together. And I was, well, If you have,
If nobody has anything to say, I'd like to say something. This is Bethany Ryan.
yes, Bethany, please do it. Go ahead and address the council.
Hello. I was just gonna comment tonight. I'm curious as to know why the council and the mayor has not been back to in-city meetings. It needs to be back in person so that the residents can participate and listen in on what the city business is doing. I think it's wrong that the council has not voted on something to pass whatever you guys do to get back to in person, because if we can all go to Walmart, you guys can be back to work and doing it in person. And the residents of Yelm need to be able to be in there and listen and participate in what you guys are doing. It's really important for the city that you have transparency and you're showing the residents exactly what's going on. Because Zoom meetings, for a lot of the older people in this town, they do not have access to a computer. They might not even have a computer. Nobody knows how to get onto this. So I'm just wondering why is this not in person again? There's many cities across the nation that are doing their city business back in person, and they're not doing it on Zoom anymore. What's going on in Yelm? Why is this not happening?
So if that's the sum total of your comment, I'm sure one of us would like to take a try at answering that for you, but I just want to make sure you've had an opportunity to finish your question.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right.
I'd like to hear what you guys have to say.
You know, Councilmember DePino, you did a good job of explaining that a little earlier before the meeting. You want to take a crack at that?
Sure, Mayor. Thank you. First of all, Bethany, I agree 100%. I would love to be in person right now, and I think the sentiment of the council is the same, or at least a decent amount of them. There are some requirements under Governor Inslee that currently we aren't. We could go to in person, but we have to provide the space at a reduced capacity. So I don't believe that we could physically do it in our small current council chambers as it is. However, I do believe that it would be possible if we explore the possibility to go to the explore the possibility. Sorry, that was a horrible line. But anyway, we could. I think we could do it in the community center if we went for it by providing the biggest thing we have to do is provide overflow rooms. And I don't know if we have the capacity to do that or the capability to do that. Providing if it's, let's say it's 25% capacity out of, say there's 100, you know, if there's 26 people with that, for that one person, extra person, we would have to have another room that has the viewable screen. I'm not sure logistically if we could do that or not. If it is, I mean, I'd be all for it. But that's about as far as I know. There are limitations regarding capacity issues, at least in Washington State.
Yeah, and I'll just tag on to say that our staff has been tasked with giving us the options for coming back into in-person meetings. And at this point in time, we don't have the capacity or the staff to be able to accommodate that fairly for all the council members in the community. So we have continued to hone the process of doing virtual meetings. And interestingly, we've actually had more public participation in our meetings in the virtual setting than we used to have in in-person meetings. So in some ways it has turned out to be better. I'm going to ask Debbie Furman to unmute. She has a question for council, or a comment rather. Or her hand is up. Or Debbie, if you want to use the chat box, you could put your question in and I could read it out loud for you. I have a feeling I know what Ms. Furman wanted to address the council on tonight, because she'd sent me an email earlier, and it was simply to compliment the Public Works crew that was working on the water line project that went down Grove Road right in front of her house. She said that they were excellent in their communication with her and the other neighbors on how the project was going to work and what they would do to repair their lawns and all of these other things that they had questions on. And she just was ecstatic over not just the project itself, which is actually going to increase water pressure to her house, but that the crew did it in such a professional manner and so quickly. So she wanted that passed along, and I did pass that along to Public Works Director Colt, who passed it along to his crew. I hope I did you justice there, Debbie, and if not, you can throw something. Oh, she did. In chat, she goes, exactly, Mayor Foster. So thank you for taking the time to come to the meeting and pass on those compliments. I don't see any other hands, so we will say that this portion of the public comment period is over, and we will move on to the consent agenda, which consists of the December and January financials.
I move we approve the consent agenda consisting of the December and January financials.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Curry. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I see none opposed. So we have that in the record. We have no new business, which is unusual for us. We have no old business. This is getting tantalizingly close to one of our shortest meetings ever, but I don't want to jinx it just yet. Oh, yeah, because now we go on to updates. So let's go ahead and start with City Administrator Michael Graham.
Good evening, and Councilmember Curry, I got your email. I will try to fill up the remainder of the time that you're used to at a council meeting. So we just have a couple of comments that'll take up about an hour and a half. So just bear with me, grab some popcorn. No, I've got 5 quick updates, and then I'm going to hand it off to Public Works Director Cody Colt for a response publicly to Councilmember Carmody's question about power supply, which is a big issue that's happening, a conversation that's happening in our nation after everything that happened down in Texas. So we'll do a little tag team here. First update I have for you all is some sad news. Today, our coworker and friend and department director Grant Beck announced his retirement. And this will be effective in August. So we'll be taking some time to look at reorg, restructuring, recruitment, all of those things that come with a position departure. But the big thing is there's some big shoes to fill there for someone that's been with the city for more than 20 years and brings significant experience to the city, who doesn't only lead the planning and development department, but also the IT department. And most importantly, is always offering assistance to help colleagues advance the big rocks that we have, many of which are in the departments that he leads, and help us with the many other endeavors that we've taken on. So he will be missed. He is not gone yet, and there's a lot of knowledge and experience that he has to pass on to us. But that conversation internally of reorg, restructure, recruitment will start. And of course, as we flesh those ideas out, we'll be sharing them with you all in your respective council committees, and then your committees as a whole. So please stay tuned there. With another update for the Planning and Development Department, we're excited to announce that Casey Mock has been recently hired as the assistant planner position. This is the temporary 3-year position that we just created in partnership with the council to offset the work of the Habitat Conservation Plan, which, as you all know, is to strengthen economic development. So the HCP will take place over a 3-year time horizon. And so the time horizon for this temporary position is around the same, 3 years. So we're excited to have her, and consistent with council's desire to have new employees come and introduce themselves. She just accepted the position, and we'll have her scheduled to attend a future meeting of yours to make a informal introduction. The last thing, second to last thing I wanted to talk to you about is just to give you a legislative update. As many of you know, you adopted your state legislative agenda and your priorities, of which regional transportation improvements is at the top of the list. $19 million of that package is for 3 roundabouts in the greater Yelm area. We're working with legislators, and the mayor's meeting with legislators. I'm meeting with legislators, and we're part of the coalition advocating for this this large regional package of over $200 million, which 19 million, as I said, benefits our community. So it's a big win. It's a big ask. It's a big lift. But as all of you, I know you've expressed interest in talking to legislators and meeting with them. As you go about doing that, just know that conversation continues to move forward, and there's good news there. Also on the legislative front, the funding for the trail is on the cut list or on the keep list. It made it from the cut list, pardon me, and that's positive. So we'll keep an eye out there for the funding through the WWRP program. And then, as I've shared with you earlier, the funding for the water reclamation facility, which is also a high priority, that is also on the legislative's list to fund. And so Ecology prioritized it. The legislature now has to make that official decision to bless the recommendations from Ecology, so to speak. And then that'll give us our low interest loan where we will start that work. And you will be seeing PSAs at upcoming meetings over the next couple of months as that work continues and obviously gets funded by the legislature. The last thing is I wanted to let you know, every large budget year, there's an opportunity for a capital budget ask. And since the council's priority was to reduce rates and for rates payers, we came up with a pretty clever idea, if we don't say so ourselves, to do that and advance what you wanted, council, through the capital budget. And that is, we put in a request, and I'll email this out to you, but put in a request to have the House and Senate fund one of the bio dryers that you recently approved. As you know, that funding is bundled together in a low interest loan. So if we can get the legislature to fund one of those bio dryers, which is, you know, reusable, renewable, sustainable, it produces and will support lots of nutrients for farming communities and gardeners and things like that around here. It helps us reduce costs in the water reclamation facility. But most importantly, if we can get that funded by the legislature, we would then use that to reduce costs and fees, which is what the council wanted. So it may make more sense if I send it out in detail, but I just wanted to let you know that request was made on behalf of the city in line with the vision that you laid out to try to reduce ratepayer costs. And we'll see how that goes through the capital budget. No promises made by our legislators, but we appreciated their support and consideration of that request. The last two things are good news from our Public Works Department. We have been having a conversation with LeMay about our service contract. We may roll that over as an extension and come back with you. We may revisit and renegotiate aspects. That's to be determined. But the good news is we continue to have those conversations with LeMay. Our Public Works Director proposed establishing a recycle center at our Public Works Department. There's those essentially where empty bays used to live in a chain link fence area at the entrance of the Public Works Center. It hasn't been utilized for years. And so the Public Works team is going to put that back to use, and they're going to have some roll-offs put in there and make that available Monday through Friday as a trial run. And hopefully if people are responsible and respectful with that, we don't get any dumping. We have cameras all over the place, so we'll be able to prevent and enforce that. But bottom line is we're going to start it off Monday through Friday as a pilot project, and then try to open it up on weekends. Of course, this doesn't diminish anyone from going to Rainier and using their free recycling services, but it's just another opportunity for us here closer to home. The last thing I wanted to do is highlight a couple of the major topics at your upcoming council meetings. So at the council study session, there is going to be a water rights overview, which we promised to come back with. That's still working its way through Ecology, so there's no great news to announce, but the important part is it's working its way through the process, and we're holding on to the promise of getting our water rights at the end of it. So we'll give you an update there. The work that Kathy is leading on revamping and reinvigorating the boards and commissions, that will also be on your March 2nd meeting. She's had conversations with many of you and your committees about what to do, membership, retention, how to make the process easier. You've all provided some great feedback, so that'll come back to all of you together at your study session. There's also going to be a discussion per Councilmember Carmody's request on establishing economic development priorities. And I am excited to share with you that our chamber director, Lynn Critchfield, has offered to come, and she's got some books that she's been reading on economic development and some questions. And so I said, yeah, come on in, ask the council some of those questions. It may help kind of kickstart that conversation, which we know is not going to be just one and done. You're not going to solve all the economic development problems and establish a list of priorities at that meeting, but it's going to be a great conversation starter, and appreciate you bringing that forward, Councilmember Carmody and Councilmember Tapino. And then last at that meeting is a proposal from Deb Larson, who you've worked with on the homelessness task force. She has a tiny homes concept that she asked to be on the agenda and present to you. And so that'll be coming up at the March 2nd meeting. So beyond that, there's going to be several PSAs, public professional services announcements and agreements that for hot topics, Cochrane Park, water reclamation facility, hopefully animal services, if they can get that to us at your future meetings on the 9th and the 23rd. And then lastly, also on the 23rd, because of the improvements we're making to the WRF, we have to have a conversation about biosolids. And we decided just to open it up and make it transparent and inclusive and do a town hall meeting. So we'll do a special town hall meeting on the biosolids proposal for the bio dryer, which, as I said, it's renewable, sustainable. It's significant cost savings for the taxpayers. So great conversation that we look forward to having with the community on the 23rd. So with that, I will hand it off to our Public Works Director, Cody Colt, and he'll discuss backup systems and power supply for our most critical infrastructure, and then give a couple of highlights on some projects that we've got working on, unless there's any questions for me.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. So obviously with the big winter storm we just had, and also in other parts of the nation, there's been a lot of questions about our power supply, our backup power supply for infrastructure services, especially essential infrastructure services such as 911, water systems, sewer systems. So our water supplies all have emergency diesel generators that are supplied with diesel fuel. They can run for 3 days roughly without any refills at all. And then if we have the ability to refill them, if we can get to a gas station or whatever to get more diesel, we can obviously refill them and use them longer. If they're manually operated, they can run for up to 5 to 7 days. And what I mean by that is someone sitting there monitoring when the water drops low enough that it needs to be repumped. The automated service will automatically turn on and do that. But if we manually do it, we can limit how often it turns on and just do quick bursts of turning on. So we have anywhere from 3 to 5 days of generator power for all water and sewer systems currently. The new WRF is getting a generator that has at least a week power supply or a week worth of fuel on hand. So it'll be able to run a week without any refueling at all. So it gives us a lot of, normally we don't see long gaps longer than that where we wouldn't be able to get some kind of fuel to these systems. And then we can obviously make concessions where we can run just downtown well or southwest well, and then you can have one on for 3 days till the generator runs dry, then do southwest well for the other 3 days. So we have a lot of options to extend that time if there's a major event like a Cascadia event where we wouldn't be able to get fuel for maybe 7 to 14 days. We could extend those times out and plan accordingly. And also that generator on there also connects into PSB, which is that public safety building where our police are located. They have the same supply where they can get 3 to 5 days of non-fuel usage out of that, so they can run off of what the current supply is. And those generators are tested regularly by professionals and get ran once every 3 months for a couple hours to make sure that they're functioning correctly and everything's tested, so everything is up to specs in case we did have a power outage in that way, shape, and form. So be happy to answer any questions about the power systems and our emergency capabilities if need be. Awesome. And then just quick updates about the project as Michael Graham was saying. I know Public Works has got an update about all these, so I'll be really brief so I don't take any of their thunder. Cochrane Park, you'll be seeing that PSA coming to you at the March 9th meeting, which is awesome for that rebuild of Cochrane Park. That's to expand those first 2 areas to allow more flow later on when we go to the rest of Cochrane Park. The WRF, we're working on some fixes and some good things that'll help the citizens on that. We'll talk more about those later. They're not pertinent right now, And then you also have the museum we've been talking about, and I'll let council dip on that, but it's just really early conversations on rebuilding the museum. I'm partnering with the tribe and several other organizations to get that rebuild. Very, very early phases though. Don't want to go too in depth. And then I won't take anything else from the Public Works Committee unless they want me to. So they got a lot of good stuff to update you on. So I'll answer any questions if need be. Awesome.
Thanks, Michael and Cody. We'll go on to council member reports. Council member Blair's not here, so we'll start with council member Carmody.
Well, Cody, you just stole all my thunder because that's exactly what I was gonna say. The only thing that that is kind of fun is the biosolids product that we are going to be creating and producing, you know, in years to come. We're going to need a name for it, and so we were thinking it might be kind of fun to have a community contest for the name. I myself would like to put out Pride of the Prairie as my suggestion. So, other than that, Cody pretty much went over everything that we talked about, the potential museum, Cochrane Park rebuild. Other than that, at my intercity transit meeting, we approved a contract to get some new communications equipment because, you know, they're kind of tired of using walkie-talkies, you know, for the bus drivers and, you know, all the other staff members. So that is moving forward. Other than that, it was a pretty short meeting at intercity transit. I don't have a whole lot here. I'd like to agree with our the woman who called in and asked about the new in-person meetings. And while I understand why we can't do it, I would like to actually request that the staff bring together at our future first in-person meeting all the new hires that we've hired over the year since we started having these virtual meetings, just so we can meet them face to face, shake some hands, say hi, welcome to the family. I think that would be really important for them to feel like they're a member of our community too. The only thing that I'd like to ask is that we should also maybe put on a future study session what we're going to do with that 640 acres, because I believe the LID is that money is due in 23 or 24. You guys will have to correct me when I'm wrong, but it's going to take a couple of years of planning to figure out what we're going to do with it. You know, I've got some ideas. I'm sure you guys have ideas, but we really need to get this on a study session agenda so that we can at least start talking about it now. That's about all I got. So thanks very much.
Molly, just a quick question. Are you guys talking about taking down that little building that's the old museum and just putting a new building on that lot? Is that what you're talking about?
That is part of the conversation. From what I understand, the Nisqually tribe was going to build some sort of a museum with the city of Lacey, but I don't know what happened. It just never went through. So they came to us and said, hey, we would like to get together a whole bunch of community, you know, partners, including the schools, including themselves, including us, and build a whole new museum. So I think that, yeah, that little yellow building, I don't know what we would do with it. We could sell it, we could tear it down and build something else there, but the contents of that little building would be moved into the new museum that would, you know, feature tribal history, and then we could also include our own local history in there. So I think it's a really cool idea, you know, but we've got to get grants, we've got to get funding, we've got to get, you know, everybody involved, we've got to get interlocal agreements signed and stuff like that. So it's way early phases. Yeah.
So not necessarily in that location.
Right. I mean, who knows? It could be wherever, you know, but we're talking in a couple of years down the road. So it's the beginning stages, but it would not be in that same little yellow house.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Curry.
I don't have anything to report except for to tell Terry that building the roof is leaking. It's just falling apart. So And I would like to see the building for the new museum be in there to kind of draw into the community center, public safety, city hall. You know, the Veterans Memorial, the community garden would all be there, and it would be,
Yeah.
it seems to me that would be a perfect place for it.
Communication, yeah, no, I agree.
That's all I have.
I do want to throw out there that we have to remember our history, especially when we're talking about a museum. And a tip of the hat to former Mayor Harding and former council member Glenn Cunningham, who did basically all of the work to move that building and repair it and get it in shape that it is to house the museum these last few years. It was a great effort and a very low cost, mostly it was all volunteer labor and mostly donated equipment and materials. So we'll make sure that we commemorate the history of that in the History Museum as well. Councilmember Stillwell, welcome back, first off.
Thank you. I attended the Public Safety Committee this afternoon or this evening, and we were discussing an interlocal agreement that council will see. And just to give you a quick rundown, some of us went to back in 2019, an integrated emergency management course, people from all over the place. And what this interlocal agreement will do is it sets the stage for when we have a disaster, how it's managed. So it's made up of a bunch of local elected officials and how we're all going to share resources. So this is the beginning of that, how that's going to be structured, and it'll go away and they'll create rules and bylaws, but it's just an interlocal agreement. Once there's 6 organizations signed on, then we'll move forward with the next phase of that. It's going to be really important. It'll put us light years ahead when we have a Cascadia type event or some disaster in front of everybody else, so that we'll already have it in place, and the managers of this organization will be able to share resources and so forth, make it really efficient so we can recover, because that's the big thing, is recovery. That's all I got.
Great. Councilmember Wood.
I also attended the public safety meeting, and we discussed something that I found really interesting was something that Sonia is going to be sending out in our email again. It's called Shake Alert, and it actually is a system that's in place that presently will give you a few seconds before an earthquake actually hits to to do what you can to protect yourself. So that's other than that, it's a pretty short and brief, to the point meeting. What I have.
Great, yeah. If you look at the City of Yelm government Facebook page, Bree posted that on the 19th. She's going to push it out again tomorrow. Those of you with smartphones can follow the link to that, and you can sign up with the government to get that alert. There's a few steps to it. It's a little bit clunky to get in there, but they're going to test that out and maybe give you that few seconds that you need to protect yourself when the big one hits. Okay, Councilmember DePinto.
Thank you, Mayor. Attended the Public Works Committee meeting. It's been pretty well covered now. The only thing I'd want to highlight on that is the recycling. I'm really excited for that recycling capability that we now have. We offer to the citizens of Yelm free of charge. I think it's a great program. It doesn't cost taxpayers anything, and it it helps everybody. I did want to be clear, Michael. Is it March 1st that it begins?
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Mayor. And yeah, so March 1st is going to start, and I hope the city posts about it and make sure folks know about it on social media. Have an EDC meeting tomorrow. Meeting with the Chamber of Commerce next week, starting those regular meetings, which I'm excited for. And met with a couple local business owners in person and over the phone. And one of them, Tim's Pharmacy, I've been talking a lot about them lately, but they're excited to hear on the next Planning Commission meeting. It's going to be up on their agenda, discuss it. And so I'm really excited for that. So are they. Spoke with Steve Craig regarding the water tower and the updates on that. And he says it's as soon as the weather lightens up and it's a little bit warmer, they're going to start painting and getting moving on that, and hope to be up and running, lit up by July 4th. So looking forward to again for that. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Great. Let's see. Who am I? Oh, Terry. Councilmember Kaminsky.
You're so bad. Okay, I attended the Nisqually River Council on Friday, and it was basically the Yelm show because we had Cody Colt give a fabulous presentation on the WRF and kept everybody totally fascinated on the details. And after that, we had Drew come and talk about Graduate Yelm for quite a while. So it was very focused on Yelm, but it was all good. And then yesterday I had the Thurston Thrives meeting, bunch of great people, very diversified group with big, big hearts, but I just sometimes find the meetings frustrating. They're talking about measures of success in health indicators in what they call the BIPOC group, you know, Black, Indigenous, people of color, the different ethnicities. And they've put together 4 indicators of health assessment that they're going to do. The first is infant mortality. For instance, why do twice as many Black babies die as compared to white babies at birth or within the first year of life? And then they look at premature birth, the depression of 8th graders. And I wondered why that grade, but apparently they rotate the ages in different years. And then measures of fair or poor health. That seems, there must be a questionnaire to determine that. So they talked, we just had a big roundtable discussion about that and about housing, which is always a problem and never really solvable. It always comes down to money. But I found it personally interesting and kind of contradictory because as they're talking about all these minorities, I'm like, well, and then people brought up food systems and I said, well, hey, Grub just came to Yelm and planted a community garden. And that's certainly a health issue that all communities could do. And I said, by the way, our biggest contributor was the Nisqually Indian tribe. And I thought that was a funny contradiction, but they didn't get my humor in that. So anyway, and then talking about housing and how housing is unfair, but excuse me, we've been regulated since 1968 on fair housing, and nobody in the industry that I know would ever consider participating in unfair housing. So a lot of the things they're talking about are so long ago, but they feel they're intrinsically within our system. So it's a never-ending process to unravel all that. Anyway, that was my meeting yesterday.
Very good. Thank you for your continued participation on behalf of the council and the city. I know those meetings can go on and on as they do with me and the Regional Housing Council. But you're right, the hearts are right. The opportunities to help people are there and working together like we will with the Recovery Council. All working together, we have a better future than everybody trying to do it by themselves. So thanks for sticking in there.
Thank you.
And so for my update, it's been 2 weeks since I've had an opportunity to talk to the council at large. And it started off with the City Action Days 2 weeks ago, which would have likely had been canceled if it had not been for our ability to do these meetings by Zoom. We had a great opportunity to hear from the governor, some of our legislators, and the lobbyists on what we can expect out of the legislature this year. It's really good time well spent. And then winter hit for real, and the affectionately nicknamed Sweetheart Snowstorm leading up to Valentine's Day demonstrated so capably the ability of our public works crew in the preparation for and the response to the 12 inches or so of snow that we received over those 3 days. Great job. We didn't receive one single complaint about roads conditions during that snow event. So well done. Our officers stayed on patrol and kept the community safe during that time. The new cars are working great, according to the chief. And kudos also goes to Brianna, Cody, Todd, and Michael for keeping an updated flow of information posted for the public. So we were information central during that whole event, and we had a lot of people checking out our website, our Facebook pages, our Twitter feed, so they could get the information that they needed. So as the legislative session goes along, as chair of the TRPC, I know I've mentioned this to you before, that I've had a great opportunity to meet with quite a few of our legislators. Senator McCune and Reps Wilcox and Barkus from our own 2nd district, Representative Arbano and Orcutt from the 20th, Lori Dolan from the 22nd, and most significantly had a great 30 minutes with our new 10th district Congresswoman, Marilyn Strickland, who was super keen to hear from us on ways the federal government could help our region. She was big on economic development when she was the mayor of Tacoma, and was really interested in helping us find ways to beautify and promote our historic downtown. I thought, Terry, you'd be happy to hear that. She had some really great ideas, and we're going to work with her office. She stole Dante Payne back, and so we're very familiar with him as her assistant, and we're going to stay in real close communication with her about that and what the feds can do. She's on, some of her committee assignments include transportation and infrastructure, and the Armed Forces Committee. And so we spent quite a bit of time talking to her about the need for federal monies to fix the I-5 problem, which is so much larger than even the state of Washington that can take on by themselves. Very interested in helping support that. So that's good friend to have on the Hill. As I mentioned, I've had 2 meetings this last 2 weeks with a regional housing council. First, as a member of the funding work group, where we recommend priorities to the general council, and then again as the full meeting, so we could agree on the process for issuing RFPs, scoring, awarding funding to regional groups. Good work. Then yesterday, I met with Sean Lewis, a name you'll hear again and again. He's the newest member of the Together team, providing counseling to the Yelm High School students. This is a new position. They've been working in the middle schools, and Sean will be helping families at the high school level connect with local services like the Yelm Community Relief Fund and others, so that they can provide a safe and healthy home from which the student can then thrive in their academic and career pathway pursuits. Really good work they're doing there, and we'll have him come to a meeting soon so you can see him. He can tell you a little bit about his program. And then lastly, I just have to tell you, working daily with our tremendous crew of professionals here at the front office makes my job so rewarding. When you see how well they do their jobs out here and interact with the public, you just can't help but appreciate them. And you realize without them, we don't get anything done around here. So thank you to all my crew. Thank you to staff for setting up another great meeting, virtual as it may be. And if there's no other good of the order.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.